VLSI System Design Theory course. Currently, we are in module 3, especially the module 3 deals with the various inverters, especially CMOS inverter, its DC characteristics, also transient characteristics, and some delay calculation methodology, power dissipation calculation methodology. All power dissipation we will discuss in later part. So VTC plot and transient plot we know, and how to calculate various critical voltages like VOH, VOL, VIH, VIL. Also we have gone through that, and voltage transfer characteristics we have already seen. So today I'm switching to some introduce some other inverters like resistive load and mass inverter. Then after that few other inverters like pseudo and mass inverter, and then we will come to the calculation of capacitances in CMOS inverter, and how the capacitances suppose one inverter is driving to other inverter. So capacitances will be included the main inverter which is driving, and the additional load stage another inverter is there. So or another some transistor will be connected. So what is the capacitance at the gate of that next level, that also will be included. So all type of capacitances we will consider, and we will add all together. Then it will be treated as a load capacitance. Total capacitance will be considered as all internal as well as some gate capacitance of the load stage, and interconnect stage also some wires are there, so they have some capacitances due to interconnects. So all kind of capacitances will be added together. Then from that we can calculate the delay, because delay is RC, means on resistance of the at the means R, and also the switch model we will discuss, and we will show that how the RC delay can be calculated. So first maybe today all kind of internal capacitances which must be considered, and the interconnect capacitance, and next stage gate capacitance all will be introduced, and after that in coming lectures we will do more. So let us move to the other parts. Already all these things have been already done, and these derivations I'm not going to give time. Let us also discuss one more thing, because in the experiment also we have to do a ring oscillator. So what is the performance, how it performs, how its frequency can be calculated, that I am explaining. CMOS inverter we understand now. So CMOS inverter is this one. This is also CMOS inverter. This is the symbol for CMOS inverter. Instead of taking the circuit, complete circuit, we have created a symbol, and this is first stage. First stage, its output is given to the next stage. Then the next output of second CMOS inverter is given to input of the third one, and output of third one is given to the given as input to the first one. We can see. So I can take a pointer also. So first inverter, second inverter, third inverter, and in this fashion it is three-stage ring oscillator, but it can be designed for any odd number of inverter can be connected. 3 stage, 5 stage, 7 stage, 11, 17, 51 stage or higher. And generally the performance is tested by designing an inverter circuit, and its variation means it's how it is up to which stages it is able to drive the load, and up to which stages it is maintaining the oscillation. So all this means there will be some limitation depending on the means uh, how much efficient the inverter, and how much efficient the technology, and how much load it can take. Accordingly we can decide, means depending on the some new technology suppose we have to evaluate, then generally we design a ring oscillator, first CMOS inverter, then we use this CMOS inverter in a ring oscillator, and try to estimate the performance. So this is one of the way by which we also estimate the performance of the technology, and the performance of the transistors of that technology. So ring oscillator, now we understand this is the ring oscillator. Here in this stage also some load is there. Here also similar load we are considering. All internal capacitances coming into this internal interconnect and other capacitances. Suppose this inverter has some internal capacitance, some interconnect capacitance, some gate capacitance of this stage, next stage also. So all is included in this C load. C load is including all, and in here also C load is including all, and here also. So the feedback is given from the output stage, and in this circuit only we are providing VDD at the top and at the bottom side ground for each inverter, and we are not giving any time varying pulse or any time varying signal. Still we are able to see that it is oscillating. We can see output V1 is red color, V2 is green color, V3 is something a little different. So red, green and blue, here it should be blue. So here blue, V3 is blue. So we can see if you plot V1, V2, V3, it looks like here. So this green color, this plot output of the this green color is output of the second stage oscillator, second stage inverter, and red one is output of the first stage. This red one is the output of the first stage inverter, and the third one here it is not given as a blue, but it is blue. So this blue color V3 is basically output of the third stage, which is also working as input for the first stage. So accordingly, we can calculate the sorry, not noise margin. We can calculate the delay. Delay calculation. We know that 50% point we should find out 50% point. So whatever for this inverter input is V3. So V3 is the when the TPHL and TPLH calculation. We know that if we are calculating TPHL, so its output this first stage output is V1. When V1 is up to reaching up to 50% from low to high, and V3 is reaching from HL high to low. V1 is reaching from high to low up to 50%, and this V3 is reaching from low to high up to 50%. So the differences will be taken, and that will be TPHL1. So here we can see TPHL1 here. This is the TPHL1. So this is the 50% point high to low. This V1 is coming from high to low, and this one is a third stage, which is input for the first one. It is going from low to high at 50%. So this is the difference. In this similar fashion, other decided TPLH2, TPLH3, and TPLH2, TPHL2, TPHL3, and TPLH1. So all are just denoted in this graph. You can check, and basically we can see the time period that means total time, how much time is taken, including all these stages, the delay, what are actually not exactly delay, it is T we are denoting, and we are adding TPLH1 and TPHL1, TPLH2, TPHL2, TPLH3, and TPHL3. And we denote a parameter TP. TP means propagation delay. So T is different than propagation delay. We are when we will take suppose for every stage TPLH1 plus TPHL1 by 2, that is propagation delay for one stage. So divided by 2 is also there. So that we consider as a TP. But for this whole three-stage ring oscillator circuit, three-stage inverter, three-stage means three inverters are connected, and this in this ring oscillator. So basically, all the divided by 2. If you are dividing by 2, then this will give you TP. So TP basically, and TP for the one stage will be just calculated as TP HL plus TPLH by 2, and therefore for the if there are any stages, so obviously every stage is contributing some delay. So obviously, therefore this relation T is becoming 2 times N into TP, where TP is delay of the one stage, and then finally frequency. That this total delay you have find it out. Then frequency will be F equal to 1 upon T, which is 1 upon 2 times N into TP. So this TP propagation delay for the complete circuit is 1 upon 2 times F, 2 NF. N is number of stages. So here in this case N is 3, because 1, 2, 3 stages are there. So TP is equal to 1 upon 2 into 3 into a frequency of oscillation. So frequency of oscillation in the plot, when you will simulate, you can find out the frequency of oscillation. And basically frequency of oscillation also, if you calculate the delay for every stage, then also frequency of oscillation can be calculated. So in next experiment we will do the ring oscillator design, and this frequency of oscillation of the ring oscillator will be calculated. All these understanding if we have, then frequency is just 1 upon t, which is 1 upon 2 times n into Tp. Here n is 3. Tp is delay of one stage. Tp is the delay of generally one stage. Generally we are considering they are the same inverter is used in the different stages, so delay we are considering same for each stage. So and times we are multiplying whatever means, generally on average we are considering Tp is the delay of the one stage. So next also I am just introducing some resistive load and mass inverter. CMOS inverter we have seen. So why CMOS inverter is superior? If we talk about resistive load inverter or other type of inverter, then only we will understand what is the superiority of CMOS inverter. Here we can see NMOS inverter. One resistance is connected instead of PMOS. Here load is instead of PMOS as a load, in the CMOS inverter PMOS acts as a load, and here PMOS is not acting as a load. Here basically this is resistance is taken as a load, and in this circuit also works as an inverter. And we can see if when input is 0, when you are applying 0 logic 0, then this transistor will be off, and this transistor will be off, then the V out will be connected to the VDD through this load. So V out is nearly VDD, we are able to find out. So when input is low, output is high, and similarly when input is VDD, when you are making input VDD, then this transistor becomes on, then this one is connected to ground, and in this way V out becomes 0. So this is the means simply NMOS transistor also can work as a means inverter. If here resistive load we can take, or we can give a on condition of PMOS. We can also connect a PMOS here, which is always on. We can connect in such a way that which is always on, or we can also connect depletion mode instead of enhancement mode. Enhancement mode PMOS also we can connect, also depletion mode NMOS also we can connect here as a load. So various other technologies can be used. So here in this case we can see that when Vin is 0, Vin is 0 means this is off, this transistor is off means switch is open, we can consider. This transistor is acting as a switch which is open, and this V out is connected to VDD, getting the path to connect with VDD, and we are getting V out equal to generally normally equal to VDD. This is the situation, and this derivation is not required, but means it is given in this slide. Can, if you want, you can go through that. If some problem, the numerical problem is required, then we can solve through this. So we can. I'm introducing quickly here VOL, how to calculate VOL and VOL and VOH also, and VIH and VIL also. So let us see. Suppose input voltage here. Input voltage is VDD. We know that VOL, what is the definition of VOL? Output voltage of the inverter. When input voltage is low voltage, when output low voltage is coming at the inverter, what is output low? It is coming when input voltage is maximum supply voltage, VDD. So in that case, you are giving VDD, then obviously this transistor will be means VOL. First we have to calculate. First we should talk about VOH. Yes, here is the VOH. So obviously this case I was searching VOH. When input was zero, then it is open circuited, and therefore it is getting path to connect with to VDD, and therefore almost VOH is you are getting almost equal to VDD. But VOL is not coming VDD. We are here. We can see VOL is coming 1 upon R is the on resistance of the transistor, and K dash W by L. K dash is what? Mu n COX W by L. Sorry, mu n COX. Mu is mobility of the electron, and the COX oxide capacitance. So R times K dash W by L, 1 upon R K dash W by L. This much value is coming. So what is considered here? Vin is equal to VDD. When you are applying high input high, in this case we are trying to solve the equation of the current equation for the transistor. So in this case, ID equal to K dash means we are using this linear mode of the transistor equation, and further VGS, gate to source voltage, we are considering VGS is equal to V in, and which is already given VDD, and VDS is whatever output voltage here in this case you are getting, that you can substitute as VOL, because drain to source voltage is basically output of this inverter. So here we can substitute VGS equal to VDD and VDS equal to VOL, and then actual ID. This ID is equal to load current. This ID drain current of this NMOS is just equal to load current, and load current can be founded out VDD minus whatever VOL output you are getting here. So VDD minus V out, basically VDD minus V out by R, and V out is VOL. So VDD minus VOL by R, and then solving, putting all this and then solving, then you are getting this one. So I'm not giving too much time on this. Quickly we can move to VOL also. VOL, we have seen that VOL, but VOL is not zero. In CMOS inverter, VOL was zero exactly, means minimum what was zero was required, that was there, but here it is not exactly coming as zero. So this is not good. I mean, it's not swinging from 0 to VDD. It is it has some problem. So VOL depends on the size of the NMOS devices, and also resistance of the transistor. And increase W to reduce VL, or we can increase R to reduce VOL. So it depends on the this logic is dependent. It can be considered as ratioed logic. It depends on W by L ratio. So logic with this type of property is called ratioed logic, because it requires careful sizing of the transistors, and generally CMOS inverter is a ratioless logic, but this type of resistive load or any other only one NMOS transistor is working as an inverter, then it is basically ratioed logic. It has some careful design requirement that W and R should be designed properly, means considered together properly. Also resistive load inverter VIL can be calculated. So in this case, when VIL we are considering, then negative slope point, first negative slope point we have to consider. In that case, input can be considered as input equal to VIL, and the transistor NMOS will be in saturation. So in that case, current can be equated means saturation current, half Kn Vin minus Vt whole square. This can be considered. This is the transistor NMOS transistor current, and VD minus V out by R. This is the load current. So load current is equal to the NMOS ID. Load current is equal to ID. Then equate and solve it, and take derivative dV out by dV in and put it -1. Then solving further, you are getting this one. VIL is this much. So to increase VIL and noise margin by reducing Kn. So here we can see VIL can be increased by reducing Kn. Kn is this Kn is process parameter, that is mu and COX. Mu is the mobility of electrons. COX is the oxide capacitance that depends on the dielectric thickness, and also permittivity of the silicon is fixed, but thickness can be varied. So by varying that, by reducing Kn, we can increase the VIL. Also VIH also can be calculated when you are at the second negative slope point in VTC plot. So high unity gain point, at that point input voltage can be written as VIH, and in that case the NMOS will be in linear region. Then linear region equation, linear region of ID, it can be equated with load current. So ID current of NMOS transistor is equal to load current VDD minus V out by R, and then further solving it, and also taking derivative dV out by dV in equal to, and putting it -1, and then solving, we are able to find out VIH equal to this much. So this is just idea of that resistive load inverter also can work as inverter, but it is not swinging from 0 to VDD. It has some problem. Also threshold voltage can be calculated. In that case, V in equal to V out. So at the point where V in equal to V out, at that point we can find out threshold voltage. And in that case, when V in is equal to V out, the NMOS transistor in saturation region, that equation can be used half K dash W by L Vn minus Vt whole square, and put the load current equal to the transistor current. So VDD minus VDD, and input voltage can be considered as VTH, because in this case, when V in equal to V out, then this V in is basically we are considering VTH threshold, switching threshold for NMOS transistor based resistive load inverter. So VDD minus VTH by R, this is the current of load. So load current in the resistive load. This current should be equated with the transistor current, and solve it. Then we can get some value, and we can see here the VTC plot quickly. So VTC plot here coming from very quickly from VDD, it is going down, and it is not reaching to zero. So minimum value VOL is not reaching to zero. This is the problem, and by changing R also affects. So this is the medium R, and this is a small r, this is larger R. So VTC plot also changes from that. Also, what are the problems with this one? Static power consumption will be there in this one, and delay and power if you want to optimize. So for fast operation we need a small resistor, and for low power we need large resistance. So this is the problem. There is trade-off between this speed and power. So there is some trade-off, and VOL is larger than 0, it is not 0, and reduced noise margin is less, and large area requirement, hard to make resistance value on chip. Very large resistance cannot be created on the chip. It is the problem. So this is one of the issue. And pseudo NMOS inverter, in this inverter here NMOS is a main driver, but here load is PMOS transistor, enhancement mode PMOS transistor, and which is source is for here source is already connected to VDD, and at gate is not connected to this one. Gate is basically given connected to ground, so it is always on. So VGSP is always minus VDD. Gate to source voltage for the PMOS is always equal to minus VDD. It is getting negative voltage equal to VDD, gate to source voltage, and it is always on. So this transistor, this enhancement mode transistor is always on, and therefore it is acting as a load. This transistor is acting as a load. So we can replace resistor by always on PMOS transistor, enhancement PMOS transistor. It is also possible and easier to implement in standard CMOS process. And in this case, PMOS load transistor is always on, because we can see that VGSP is minus VDD. When it is negative voltage is applied, and which it is sufficiently negative, then it is always on. So this transistor is always on, and other regions, linear region and saturation region are discussed. You can see. So we can see its operation, that VOH for pseudo NMOS inverter, how it is coming. So suppose input voltage you are giving 0, input voltage giving 0, then NMOS transistor will be acting like an open switch. It is off and it is on. It is always on. So this PMOS is always connected to VDD, so it is on. So V out will be connected to VDD, therefore you are getting VDD. So in this way you are getting VOH. When input is 0, then output is high, and you are exactly getting VDD. So VOH is equal to VOH is almost VDD. So it is similar. So VOH is coming as a VDD, means maximum supply voltage, and it was same the case in the resistive load inverter also. And VOL, if you want to calculate, so find VOL of the pseudo NMOS inverter. Suppose VOL you have to find out, then you have to consider input voltage equal to VDD. So you are applying input voltage equal to VDD, and in this case NMOS transistor in linear region will be there. So current equation for the linear region will be utilized, and input V in equal to VOL, and obviously VDD is the VDD is the output voltage. So PMOS transistor in saturation mode always, because it is already given in the such way where this biasing is given in such a way that it is always in saturation. So we can equate the current of PMOS and NMOS also. So PMOS is in saturation. Its equation can be written as half Kp minus VDD minus VTP whole square, and this can be equated with this one NMOS transistor current and solve it. Then we can find out. So that was some hint. I have left it. Then we can see that VTC plot for this one. So this is the situation. It is also not reaching to 0. It is also not reaching to 0 lower value. VOL is not reaching to 0, but VDD is equal to VOH is equal to VDD. So VTC plot of this inverter also we have seen. So these are the few examples of other type of inverters which we have seen that they are not able to swing between 0 and VDD completely. So there, and also static power dissipation is there, and also there is some design constraints, there are problems. So therefore CMOS inverter is better. So those these inverters though I have just introduced that so that we can compare, we can understand, not required too much attention, but we should understand these other type of inverters also. Let us now come to the CMOS inverter timing analysis. So timing analysis we can do by considering various capacitances. So various capacitances we want to consider inside the CMOS inverter. Here PMOS, this one is PMOS, and this is NMOS, and gate of the both transistors are connected together, and the input is given to here, and output is taken from the here drain of PMOS, drain of NMOS, both connected together. From this point we are taking output, and further it is driving to other stages also. So we can see that these various capacitances we have seen that in NMOS MOS transistor, what are the various capacitances that we have seen. So here again we are recalling that this capacitance between the here CGDP. So this is gate and this is drain. So CGD, and it is PMOS, therefore P is also suffix. So CGDP, one capacitance, CGD, CDB, this is drain, and this one is body. This one is body. So CDB, and this is P. So because it is PMOS. Similarly, CGDN for NMOS and CDBN for PMOS. Also CGSP, this capacitance may be there, and CSB means source to body also. This type of capacitances are there, but which are playing important role in this, circuit when it is working, that will be considered later on. So similarly CGSN and CSBN, and there is some C interconnect also. There is capacitance because various polysilicon and metals and other connections are there, that is also having some capacitance. So CINT means C interconnect. So it is driving to other stage. Here some gate capacitance of this stage also there, it should be also considered. So we have this diagram is explaining various type of capacitances for finding out delay, because if you have to do timing analysis, if you have to find out delay, then all capacitances must be properly considered depending on the operation. So suppose input transistor is fixed, then delay determined by the capacitances on the nodes F. This is the F node, this node. So what are the capacitances at this node? So some this one will not come into picture. This red portion will come into picture. This one is also not coming into picture. So this node, at this node, what are the capacitances? So like junction capacitance CDBP and CDBN, CDBP and CDBN, CDBP and CDBN, and similarly gate capacitance is also from gate side. So CGDP and CGDN, and then interconnect capacitance. This interconnect capacitance also coming, and receiver. This is receiver. Next stage is connected to this one. This is the this stage is driving to this stage. This is next stage. So it is the receiver stage. So it's receiver gate capacitance also. This receiver gate capacitance also must be considered. So all these capacitances again just recalling, we have seen in the MOS transistor theory that capacitance junction capacitance can be calculated by CJ equal to A Cj01 minus V by phi naught to the power m, where phi naught is the built-in potential and Cj0 is the zero bias capacitance Cj0 epsilon q by 2 Na Nd by Na plus Nd 1 upon phi naught to the power m. M is the grading factor that we have already seen, and in terms of k factor also we have seen that equation can be written. So actually CdB can be area into K equivalent is say J plus B into K equivalent K equivalent side wall. For side wall also K will be different. For the bottom junction K will be different. So this K is for bottom junction and this is for side wall. P is the perimeter. Perimeter we have already seen that perimeter means suppose drain or source length is some distance. Suppose drain or source distance is assume some distance. So and width is already W. So that is coming into picture means 2 times the drain or source distance along the horizontal direction and plus W. So that is considered as perimeter. Sometimes 2W also depending on the different consideration varies in different situations. Sometimes whole means 4 arms are considered. 4 arms of the drain or source region are considered to consider as a perimeter. You are finding then added. So perimeter into K of the side wall into CJSW, so, side wall capacitance per unit length, and this CJ is capacitance junction, bottom junction capacitance per unit area. So these are the things which is considered. So then let us see means which capacitance is useful to consider. So CMOS inverter gate capacitances, let us consider gate side. This is the complete circuitry. So this is the complete circuitry. So gate side, these two first let us see, and also we will consider Miller effect, how the effective capacitance is coming, so that we can consider. So gate capacitances CGDP and CGDN, these must be considered properly. So just after the input switches from means just start switching. Obviously input is very fast. It is switching from 0 to when at 0 time 0 plus. 0 plus means now input is on. So it will switch from 0 to high very fast. So when it is switching in beginning, what regions are transistor is in what region, that we should consider. So what will happen because it is switching from 0 to high, low to high. So one transistor will be off, other transistor will be on. 1 minute. Let me connect it to other one. Already power is there. So power came, so we can connect to. Yeah, editing is dually connected. Then fine. Okay, working now. So we can consider that gate capacitances because it is switching on. So means this input pulse is switching from 0 to high. If it is switching to high, then what will happen? NMOS suppose on and PMOS is off. So PMOS is off means cutoff region. In cutoff region, gate to drain CGD we are calculating for P. So CGD for P, it will be having only overlap capacitances are always present, either it is in cutoff or saturation or linear region. Overlap capacitances will be always there, but in cutoff region other capacitances we need not require to consider. So in cutoff region overlap capacitance will be considered only, and also in saturation region this overlap capacitance will be CGD, which will be overlap capacitance for the saturation region. Other transistor in saturation region, its overlap capacitance is also present. So both overlap capacitances can be considered. So therefore gate to drain capacitance is due to the overlap capacitances. Here we can see. So CGDP and CGDN both overlap capacitances are equal, which is COXW into LD. LD is what? LD is the overlap distance of the source side and drain side both. We are considering LD as the overlap distance. Sometimes new suffix LOV also we can write, but here we have taken the LD. So COXW into LD. This LD is the overlap distance between source and gate. So how much overlap is there? That is LD. So COXW LD. This is the CGDP value and CGDN value. Also, we need to consider Miller effect. If we consider Miller effect, then what happens? Suppose CGD gate to drain. This is the CGD one. This one at output side here. This is input side. It is at output side how it appears. Output side between V out, between this point V out and at the ground, how it appears. Now we can see here it is when input is switching from low to high, it is switching. So output switching from high to low. So how much changes will be happening? So basically V out here we are considering two times CGD1. CGD1 at input it was CGD1, but output between this output point and the ground, it is considered 2 times CGD1 due to the Miller effect. Why? Because when input pulse rises, input pulse is rising from low to high, the output falls. Output falls here. Output falls. Let me take a pointer. So output is falling from high to low. When input is rising from low to high, then output is or here we can see also output is falling from high to low. Input is rising from low to high. Output is falling from high to low. So change in stored charge, if you want to calculate exact change due to this change, so delta Q equal to CGD1 initial value, CGD1 into delta V, because when input rises by delta V, output falls by delta V. So input at input side delta V change, at output side delta V, total 2 delta V change, 2 delta V change. So CGD1 delta V minus CGD1 delta V. So actually 2 times delta V changes have been effectively done. So this is why effective capacitance with respect to ground is twice of CGD1, and this is called Miller effect. So if you are considering Miller effect, then instead of whatever here we are getting COXW into LD only, now we can get CGDP and CGDN equal to 2 times, because here it is 2 times due to Miller effect. So 2 times COXW into LD. LD is the overlap distance of the source side or drain side also with gate. So for transistor in cutoff, when it is in cutoff, then we are considering like that. Because we are considering the transistors are in cutoff, then only overlap capacitances are considered. Only overlap capacitances here we have considered, because we are considering a cutoff situation. So also receiver gate capacitance also we can consider, because receiver has also some gate capacitance here. This one CG, but we don't know in which region of operation this one is there. So we know that capacitance of the transistor varies. If it is in saturation region, 2/3 of COXW into L, and if it is in cutoff or linear region, then COXW into L. So it varies between the minimum and maximum limit that we can consider. So worst case we can consider. So we can see here CMOS inverter capacitance when it is receiver is also considered. So includes capacitances of the gate connected to the output node. Whatever gate capacitance of the receiver states that is connected to the output node, so its gate capacitance should be considered, and it is not known which region of operation this transistor is. So we can have idea that total gate capacitance varies from because in saturation region if it is, then 2/3 of WL/COX, and if it is in linear or cutoff region, then WL/COX. L is the drawn length. L is the drawn length. So if we ignore Miller effect in this next stage transistor, then we can also consider worst case. So worst case means this is less, this is minimum capacitance and this is maximum. We can consider in worst case we can consider maximum capacitance WL/COX. So we can consider WL/COX. So ignore Miller effect. Also consider worst case capacitance. So obviously the WL effective COX. So WL effective COX, this is the capacitance of the gate capacitance, next stage receiver stage gate capacitance, and means total gate capacitance that can be considered because some overlap capacitance is also there. and this one is coming. So L effective plus 2 LD, basically LD means overlap distance of the source side and drain side, both are added. So this will give you actual means drawn length. So L effective plus 2 LD, this will give you L. So in effect, basically CG equal to WL COX. So this much capacitance must be considered, total gate capacitance. And exact all the capacitances are incorporated in C load in the circuit. If we consider a single capacitance C load which will incorporate all the capacitances, then we can consider 2 times CGDN, 2 times CGDP, also CDBN and CDBP and C interconnect capacitance. So all must be considered, and due to Miller effect these are considered 2 times, but CDBP, CDBN and CDBP one times it is coming, and interconnect capacitance one time coming. So all together this basically plus CG gate capacitance. So C load plus CG, everything is now included, and this SB, it is not connected with load. This one GSN and GSB, and these are not connected with load. This is also not connected with load, that we are not considering. So CGSN and CGSP are not connected to the load. These are part of the gate capacitance. In gate capacitance, whatever we are considering, that is already there. So delay we can consider first order delay. Suppose delay calculation we will do more detail in next turn, but let us have an idea that this is a CMOS inverter. See this now we are considering only one capacitance here, C load, which is including all type of capacitances. So suppose ideal voltage step and voltage input voltage, which is very fast switching. It is not taking too much time, so it is from low to high or high to low. It is very fast switching input voltage. So voltage is step voltage, and current like when it is charging, this capacitor is charging or discharging. When it is working, this transistor is working. So sometimes it is charging, or sometimes it is also discharging. So let us also consider that current charging, which is charging the capacitor C load, is nearly its average value I average we are taking. It is almost constant, and its average value is I average. So TPHL, in TPHL what happens? The output is coming from high to low, and 50% point we considered. So the TPHL we can consider, the TPHL can be calculated with the help of C load. Basically uh, I is what? I is dq by dt. I is dq by dt basically. So T is suppose T you want to find out T, and Q is C into the change of voltage, capacitance into voltage. So time delay can be calculated by C into change of voltage divided by average current. So this is why C load VDD minus VDD by 2, when it is coming from high to low at 50% point. So C load TPHL can be calculated C load VDD minus VDD by 2 into I average. Similarly, it is first order approximation. So first order inverter delay calculation, very simple means approximation, that C load VDD minus VDD by 2, because at 50% point the output is equal to VDD by 2, and current we are considering average current I average. Similarly, TPLH also we can calculate C load into, it is going from low to high. So low to high, in that case when it is reaching 50%, then VDD by 2, and when it was low, then its output was VSS, means whatever VSS point we can consider, input was at VSS. So VDD minus VSS, and C load into this much change of voltage divided by I average. So this one is the first order approximation, and a very simple approximation for calculation of TPHL and TPLH. And if TPHL and TPLH is calculated, then we can find out delay, propagation delay TP is equal to TPLH plus TPHL by 2. So this is just beginning of the delay calculation and timing analysis. We will do more timing analysis in next turn, means next turn. I am ending here because time is over. One minute. Start. stop sharing. Just a minute. Okay, downloaded attendance. So now I can stop recording.